Hi, my name is Caroline Stoughton, and today is Sunday, March 24th, 2024. I am a painter based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and I grew up loving color and animals. That was something that I never could get away from. Everyone for different holidays, for my birthday, would get me little animal trinkets and little animal statues and things like that. My clothes were always neon colors. I would have some sort of colorful butterfly on my shirt. It was something that people knew about me even at a very young age. And I spent a lot of time as an only child outside looking at things that I feel like you might not notice as much when you're like running around in the dirt playing with all these other kids. Not that I didn't have that opportunity, because I did, but when I look back now, I feel like I noticed a lot when I was little, and I know that has influenced my art. Flowers, the way the leaves would move and the sound they would make, and all of that. So anyway, I grew up on that, and like I said, I know that influences the way that I make art now, but I think that my work is mostly informed by nature, and animals have this sort of presence about them that they just know good people, and they just know good feelings, and they can tell when something's not safe, and all of that I've always really admired. And when you're met with an animal in nature, it's almost like they stare right through your soul, and that and the colors and flowers, it's just something that I can never get away from, and I never wanted to. So I've fully embraced that at this point, and I know that has informed the work I'm making now specifically. So I was born and raised in Abington, Pennsylvania, which is a suburb of Philadelphia. And when I was growing up, Peter Max is a contemporary artist whose work I would look at all the time, and I've met him a few times at different events, but he just used color so boldly, and he would put so much thick paint on the canvas, and I was just amazed, like, you could do that? And then I would see other people's work as I would get even older and started going to museums, and I would see Cy Twombly's work, or Martin Johnson Head, who paints hummingbirds and flowers, right? And then that mixed with these vibrant colors from Peter Max, and then I saw Caravaggio's paintings in real life right in front of me, like 2 feet away, when I spent time in Rome, and just this depth. All these artists together have definitely informed my work and inspired a lot of the paintings I've made. I also saw Johann Wenzel Peter's work in the Vatican Museum when I spent time in Rome, and he painted Adam and Eve, but it's all these animals, and they're just looking at you, and they're so happy, and everyone is just together in this forest, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, I could do that too. And then I met Susan Moore. She was one of my professors, and she painted these beautiful portraits, and she would use oil sticks, and they were just so rich in color and vibrant, but they had so much depth and darkness at the same time, and she's amazing, and her work really inspired me also, and I don't know if I got to tell her that, but so all of those artists, and then some life experiences. My grandmother got ill, and she had some memory diseases, and that really affected me during my time in high school. And in high school was when you kind of have to make the decision, like, what do you want to pursue seriously, right? So you have to decide what you want to do in college, and before that you have to decide what you're going to do in high school to get into college with that portfolio. So I was working on that, and I was like, what is my portfolio going to be to submit to these art colleges, to apply? And it was when she was really declining in her health, and it was quite difficult, and it was all I thought about, and the only time I could really stop thinking about it or feel okay was when I painted. And the thing that I kept painting, it was flowers. And they would sometimes morph into animal forms, or like birds and dolphins coming out of a rose, and this floral arrangement that is then turning into birds flying through the what I created to be a sky behind the vase. And it was just, it didn't feel like my world was caving in on itself when I was painting. And that is something that I'll never forget. But I realized, we only really have moments, because when you experience secondhand memory loss, it's something that really changes your world, because you realize how precious every single second is with everyone and everything you love. So with that being said, there was no reason at that point, and from that point on, that I was ever going to sacrifice, what I loved. And I was never going to put it anywhere but in my, I wasn't going to not put it in my paintings. I was going to put all the colors that I felt, all the colors that I wanted. Even when someone said, the grass isn't pink, well, it is for me. So, I'm going to do it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it. So colors happened from there. And I developed my colors and my palette that has definitely stuck until, now, all this time. And it's developed, but I can't get away from the vibrant colors, nor do I want to. They make me feel things from when everything was okay. When I was spending time like super, super happy with my mom and going outside and all those things that we can still do now. It's just these feelings from when we were younger, when it was pure bliss. So moving on, I'm focusing right now on flowers specifically, because I have painted a lot of animals and I've incorporated them into the same paintings because it all stems from nature. But I've been really focusing on florals, and the occasional, like little pig or okapi or jaguar will pop in. But I really want to study flowers and kind of slow down, study their forms like I did when I was younger, when I didn't even realize what I was doing, that I was studying them, but that's definitely what it was. So that's what I'm focusing on right now. And I think that there is a challenge in that, just being an artist in general. And the moment that you decide to go from, I make art because I have to for myself, it's like this thing that makes me feel like nothing else can, to I keep that feeling, plus I'm going to share it with other people, plus I'm going to allow them to collect it, plus I'm going to exhibit it. It's like it's a switch, and it's really hard to not manage but balance both of those at the same time and keep that sense of joy in the making, and only having problems and pressure within it in a good way, like to solve problems in your paintings versus solving problems in the business of art. So that's a challenge, I think, being an artist. And I would just say that if I could give a piece of advice to my younger self, it would probably be to be yourself, your actual self, always, like the most pure version of whatever idea or thought that you just had that just popped in your head, or whatever you want. Do it. Just do that. And all of the no's, this is a second piece of advice, but any no that you receive, it's an opportunity that wasn't best for you. That's why it was a no. That's why it didn't work out. So that. I've never really tried any unconventional mediums or techniques other than just massively large paintings. And I did this scroll a few years ago, It was on paper, but it was a mixed media piece. It was a drawing. It was a painting. And this is probably the most untraditional I've gotten, but I was sitting in the middle of it to make it because it was just so massive. I was engulfed, so I just sat in it. I would put the paint on my hands. I would slap it around and, just to cover all the space on the paper. And then I would go in with my ink after that dried, and maybe it was vice versa. Whatever it was, that was probably the most wild I got with my art, but I definitely let everything just drip. I put water in big buckets. I just throw the water on the canvas, let it drip down. I think it's totally fine. I know it's totally fine to be really messy with your work when you're making it, because that's when things are going to come up that you weren't expecting, and that's good. Like, it's good to be thrown off sometimes, I am inspired still, I have to say, by the early 2000s, and I guess that goes back to childhood. I am a 90s baby, but I don't pride myself on that. But I do still listen to, pop 2K music when I'm painting, and sometimes it'll just turn off and I won't notice it because I'll be so into my painting that I could be painting for hours in complete silence and my phone goes off and I'm like, what just happened? So I do listen to music sometimes, but it's not a necessity. I can also talk and paint, but I'll probably be lying in the conversation because I won't be fully focused and I probably won't know what you're saying and I'll just be saying, yeah. The best reaction that someone has had to my work was being at a loss for words. I think that's the best. And then the second best is, you're insane. Like, you're a monster. I don't even understand. How is this possible? That's cool too. Because sometimes you forget, as an artist, you do have this ability that it's insane. Like, how are you making this thing? It's just coming out of you and you're just creating it and just happening on this canvas and it never existed before and it's coming out of your mind. Like, that is incredible. And I think artists a lot of times don't give ourselves enough credit. And maybe that's something to work on for every artist. Really be proud of yourself, Like, you just made that. I hope, all in all, that people take away from my work that you can be whatever you want to be in whatever moment. And there is so much beauty around us that we kind of just let pass by us because we are so inundated with so much stuff, and it feels impossible sometimes to really just notice everything. But if you slow down, and I don't know enough about mindfulness to even call it that, but just look, that flower has neon yellow and orange in it. In real life, like, that exists in front of us. It's not fake, it's not made up. That's real, and that's right there. And that's incredible. So I hope they take away looking and maybe even seeing something differently than they did before. That's something cool that people have said to me. I feel like I see color way better now that I saw your paintings. That would be it. I do have a show coming up for the month of April at my local library. And I also am in a group exhibition that is until the end of March. And that's it for now. Oh, there's another group exhibition planned for the summer in New York City, but I will announce that in maybe a month or two. So I thank you for listening so much. And I am available to chat on Instagram at Caroline Stoughton, or through my website. You can always email me. All right, thank you again. Bye.